7,000 years ago, if you had a crushing headache, a healer might grab a sharp stone and drill a hole straight into your skull while you were still awake. And here's the part that should terrify you. The bone around some of these holes shows healing. That means people survived it. No hospitals, no antibiotics, not even soap. And yet skeletons from 30,000 years ago show broken legs that healed straight and clean. Someone was keeping these people alive long enough to mend, and figuring out how. And here's the part that should terrify you. Archaeologists have found skulls where the bone around that hole has smoothed over and healed. That only happens if the heart keeps beating for years afterward. So people were surviving brain surgery, with stone tools, with zero understanding of infection, long before anyone knew what bacteria even were. This wasn't a one-time accident. Skulls with healed drill holes have been found on every continent except Antarctica, spanning thousands of years. So ancient humans didn't just stumble into medicine once. They built it, lost it, rebuilt it, and passed it down, over and over, with nothing but trial, error, and memory. Let's start with the drilling itself, because it wasn't random. It's called trepanation, and healers usually aimed for the same few spots on the skull, avoiding the areas most likely to cause fatal bleeding. That precision means someone, somewhere, had tried it enough times to know which spots killed people and which spots didn't. Which raises the obvious question, why would anyone drill into a living head in the first place? The leading theory is pressure relief. After a head injury causes swelling, letting blood or fluid escape through a hole could actually ease the pressure and save a life. In other words, this brutal-looking procedure may have been one of the first accurate pieces of medical reasoning in human history. But skull surgery wasn't the only proof that ancient people were fighting to keep each other alive. Go back even further, to a Neanderthal skeleton found in Iraq, nicknamed Shanidar 1. This man had a shattered arm, damage to his leg, and likely partial blindness, injuries that should have been a death sentence for a hunter-gatherer. Yet his bones show years of healing after those injuries. He couldn't have hunted or foraged alone in that condition, which means someone fed him, someone protected him, someone chose to keep an injured group member alive instead of leaving him behind. That single skeleton rewired how scientists think about early humans, not as purely brutal survivalists, but as beings capable of long-term care. So we have evidence of surgery. We have evidence of care. Next comes the part that sounds almost too modern: painkillers. Long before pharmacies, people were chewing the bark of willow trees to dull pain and bring down fevers. Inside that bark is a compound called salicin, and your body converts it into the same active ingredient found in modern aspirin. Ancient Egyptian medical texts, written on papyrus over 3,500 years ago, list willow bark as a remedy for aches and swelling. They didn't know the chemistry. They just noticed, chew this, feel better. Repeat it enough times across enough generations, and it becomes recorded knowledge. Now here's the twist most people don't expect. Ancient healers weren't just using plants. They were unknowingly using early antibiotics. In ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, healers pressed moldy bread directly onto open wounds. That sounds disgusting. But some molds naturally produce compounds that kill bacteria. The exact same principle behind penicillin, discovered for the first time in 1928. They didn't know about microbes. They just knew that wounds treated a certain way were less likely to turn black and kill the patient. And it gets stranger. In more recent history, battlefield doctors noticed something horrifying and useful at the same time. Wounds infested with maggots often healed cleaner than untouched wounds. Maggots eat only dead, rotting tissue and leave healthy flesh alone. Without meaning to, they were performing surgery no scalpel could match. So line these discoveries up. Skull surgery based on real anatomy, plant compounds that match modern drugs, and organic material used as living antibiotics. This wasn't superstition getting lucky. This was generations of humans running the same experiment, over and over. Try it. Watch what happens. Remember the result. Teach the next generation. That's the scientific method. It just didn't have a name yet. And it explains something strange about modern medicine. A huge number of our most important drugs weren't invented in a lab from scratch. They were rediscovered, Aspirin came from bark. People were already chewing. Penicillin came from mold. People were already using. The lab didn't create the answer. It just finally explained why the answer worked. So the next time you take a painkiller for a headache, remember, someone, thousands of years ago, was solving the exact same problem with nothing but a tree, a rock, and a very long memory for what worked.